Buddhist Solution to Depression and Anxiety by Venerable Rungruang Papassaro, Dr. Rungruang Limchoopatipa. Depression. Analysis of depression disorder. Depression manifests unwholesome thought, aligned with the 5 lower fetters, as the mind loops around some kind of painful event in the past again and again. In a typical mental state, thoughts naturally arise and fade away. However, in depression, the mind continuously regenerates painful thoughts, becoming fixated on reliving distressing past events. Individuals struggling with depression often experience diminished concentration, reduced interest in their usual activities, and a significant loss of energy, and are overwhelmed with hopelessness and burdensome guilt. This cycle of rumination prevents the healthy dissipation of these memories, reinforcing the distress and eventually culminating in suicidal thoughts. Anxiety. Analysis of anxiety disorders. Anxiety can be seen as a form of unwholesome thought, connected to the 5 lower fetters. It arises from feelings of worry, nervousness, or unease about an upcoming event or an uncertain future outcome. In such situations, the mind often overreacts to perceived threats by envisioning worst-case scenarios, which, in turn, heightens feelings of nervousness and worry about potential dangers that may happen in the future. Typically, individuals experiencing anxiety typically exhibit emotional symptoms, such as apprehension, dread, tension, restlessness, or irritability about surrounding conditions, and thus heighten vigilance for signs of danger. Their physical manifestations may include sweating, tremors, twitches, headaches, fatigue, and insomnia. Buddhist Solution to Depression and Anxiety. Depression and anxiety. A contrast. The primary distinction between depression and anxiety lies in their temporal focus. Depression stems from repetitive thoughts about past events, which eventually exhaust the mind, leading to apathy and torpor. Anxiety, on the other hand, arises from constant worry about potential future scenarios, causing heightened mental agitation and excitement. From a Buddhist perspective, both depression and anxiety are associated with the 5 lower fetters, originating from subtle defilements in the first round of the process of dependent origination. Memories of painful experiences are retrieved and executed in volitional formations driven by desire and lust. While matters of the past give rise to depression, concerns about the future result in anxiety. As the cycle of dependent origination continues in multiple rounds, these volitional formations intensify into mental suffering. The Buddha elaborated on these mental problems and proposed methods to resolve them as follows.
One should neither run back into what happened in the past, nor be afraid of what is going to happen in the future. Whatsoever happened is already happened, and it arises and fades away. It is impossible to change the past. Whatsoever to happen in the future is dependently on a certain cause and effect. If do it right, then the outcome will be right as well. Especially at this moment, nothing is happening yet. What a depression and an anxiety are about, it is just an object of consciousness happening inside the mind. It is important to realize that whatsoever happening in the mind, it arises and eventually fades away. Those who established mindfulness in the present moment all day and night will have nothing to be worried about and to be afraid of. We should have mindfulness in the present moment because when the mind has received either a stimulus of external mental phenomenon from sense bases or an internal formulated mental phenomenon, if we do not think of whatsoever happened in the past or of whatsoever will happen in the future, and then the mind will not be bothered with any matter anymore. That is, we should not think of what happened in the past, and do not run forward into the expectation of what will happen in the future, but we should firmly keep the mind to be steadied in the present moment only. Then the mind will not be afraid of anything. And the mind will abandon the 5 aggregates subject to clinging.
In Buddhism, we can kill 2 birds of depression and anxiety in one shot by establishing mindfulness in the present moment. That is, by cultivating mindfulness in the present moment, the mind was resettled to a position in its origin of mind processing, symbolically represented at the 000 coordinate in the space of thought. Moreover, in this neutral state, the mind automatically becomes free from any sensual desire or ill will as well. This is a very genuine way to abandon all the confusing objects of consciousness so that the mind achieves an internally steadiness, composure, unity, and concentration, as it is originally said that the mind is pure and clear before the mind processing.